And the front page was, what's Obama going to do to get his poll numbers up? And are the Democrats all in a tizzy and this and that? And she said, listen, if you're the average family, if I'm a mom out there and I'm working and my husband's working, but we're worried about losing our jobs, our hours have been cut back, costs of our health care premiums just went up 30%, and credit card company just jacked up our interest rates 39%, and our home values have gone down by $100,000, and our 401k is all banged up, and suddenly somebody calls up and says, so how do you think President Obama's doing right now? What are they going to say? What are they going to say? Of course people are frustrated. And they have every right to be. And I know that during the course of this gathering, some of the press have been running around, well, what do you think you should be doing, and this and that and the other, and what's the strategy? And look, when unemployment is 9.7%, when we are still digging ourselves out of an extraordinary recession, people are going to be frustrated. And they're going to be looking to the party in power to try to fix it. When you've got another party that says, we don't want to do anything about it, of course people are going to be frustrated. Folks are out there working hard every day, trying to meet their responsibilities. But all around them during this last lost decade, what they've seen is a wave of irresponsibility from Wall Street to Washington. They see a capital city where every day is treated like Election Day. And every act, every comment, every gesture passes through a political filter. They've seen the outsized influence of lobbyists and special interests who too often hijack the agenda by leveraging campaign money and connections. Of course they wonder if their leaders can muster the will to overcome all of that and confront the real problems that touch their lives. But here's what everybody here has to remember. That's why I ran for president. That's why you worked so hard to elect a Democratic Congress. We knew this stuff was tough, but we stepped up because we decided we were going to take the responsibility of changing it. And it may not be easy, but change is coming. Look, I believe so strongly if we're going to deal with the great challenges of our time, if we're going to secure a better future, just as past generations did for us, then we're going to have to change the prevailing politics in this town, and it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to care less about scoring points and more about solving problems that are holding us back. At this defining moment, that's never been more important. We can continue, for example, to be consumed by the politics of energy, but we know that the nation that leads the clean energy revolution will lead the 21st century global economy. We know that a failure to act will put our planet in deeper peril. We know that China isn't waiting, and India isn't waiting, and Germany isn't waiting to seize that future, and America can't afford to wait either. And I don't intend to spend all my time taking polls to figure out whether we're going to seize that future or not. We can continue to spin our wheels with the old education debates, pitting teachers' unions against reformers, and meanwhile our kids keep trailing their counterparts from South Korea to Singapore. But we know that the countries that out-educate us today will out-compete us tomorrow. We know that kids who are consigned to failing schools today will be condemned to lifetimes of lower wages and unfulfilled dreams. America can't afford to wait. And I'm not going to take a poll to figure out whether or not we're going to tackle education. We can continue to allow the same special interests who stacked the deck in favor of financial speculators in the last decade to block reform again in this decade. But if we've learned anything from the devastating recession, it's that we know that wise regulation actually can enhance the market and make it more stable and make our economy work better. We can't return to the dereliction of duty that helped deliver this recession. We know that to do so would be to put at risk our jobs, our families, our businesses, and our future. America can't afford to wait, and we can't look backwards. And yes, we could continue to ignore the growing burden of runaway costs of health care. The easiest thing to do right now would be to just say, this is too hard. Let's just regroup and, lick our wounds, try to hang on. We've had a long and difficult debate on health care. And there are some, maybe even the majority in this town, who say perhaps it's time to walk away. No. But here's the thing, Democrats. If we walk away, we know what will happen. We know that premiums and out-of-pocket expenses will skyrocket this decade, and the decade after that, and the decade after that, just as they did in the past decade. More small businesses will be priced out of coverage. More big businesses will be unable to compete internationally. More workers will take home less pay and fewer raises. We know that millions more Americans will lose their coverage. We know that our deficits will inexorably continue to grow because health care costs are the single biggest driver. So just in case there's any confusion out there, let me be clear. I am not going to walk away from health insurance reform. I'm not going to walk away from the American people. I'm not going to walk away on this challenge. I'm not going to walk away on any challenge. We're moving forward. We are moving forward. Sometimes we may be moving forward against the prevailing winds. Sometimes it may be against a blizzard. But we're going to live up to our responsibility to lead. And I'm confident that if we stay steady, if we stay focused on all the people that we meet each and every day who are out there struggling, if we've got them in mind and we are working to deliver on their behalf, that in the end, that'll be good politics as well as good policy. It'll be good for America, not just good for Democrats. But in order to get any of these battles done, we're going to have to change the way that Washington works. Now, we may not get a lot of attention for it, but we've actually already begun to do that. We've reined in the power of the special interests with the toughest ethics and transparency rules of any administration in the modern era. We're the first White House ever to post our visitors online. We've excluded lobbyists from policymaking jobs or seats on federal boards and commissions. I've called on Congress to make all earmark requests public on one central website before they come up for a vote so that you know how the money's spent. We're going to have to confront the gaping loophole that the Supreme Court recently opened in our campaign finance laws that allow special interests to spend without limit to influence American elections. We also said that as we worked to change the ways of Washington, we'd also change the way we do things as a party. This committee is the first to ban contributions from political action committees and lobbyists. And I'm pleased to see the recommendations submitted by the Change Commission aimed at improving our nominating process, because I believe that the more Americans that get involved in this party, the stronger this party will be. And yes, we need to change the way we work with the other party as well. Now, I'm proud to be a Democrat. I'm proud to be a leader of this great party. But I also know that we can't solve all of our problems alone. So we need to extend our hands to the other side. We've been working on it. Because if we're going to change the ways of Washington, we're going to have to change its tone. Now, as a step in that direction, I went and visited with the House Republican Caucus last Friday, and we had a good discussion about the challenges. We had a good discussion about the challenges facing the American people and our ideas to solve them. It was good for the country to see a robust debate. I had fun.